Do you have a good knowledge of marketing, but aren't getting the results you want? Have those disappointing results made you doubt yourself and the viability of your business? If so, then this will be the most important video that you watch today, because I'm going to show you how to build business assets that give you income for the rest of your life. More than just money, these assets will give you 4 critical things. The first is a clear plan to build your dream business. The second is a way to accurately measure the cost of growth. The third is a way to accurately measure the time to achieve your goals. And the fourth is security and stability in your business. So if you'd like to add security, stability, and predictability to your business, then this video series is for you. Seriously, with these secrets, you'll never wonder where your next sale is coming from. You'll know with certainty how to create your ideal income, plus you'll know how the time and the cost of growth, and you'll be able to accurately predict the value of your efforts. So how is that possible? We'll get into that in just a moment. First, I'd like to answer a more important question, and that's, who am I and why should you believe anything that I have to say? Hi, my name's Roland Eva, and I'm a copywriter and a marketing trainer, mentor, and consultant. For the last 5 years, I've helped authors, mentors, trainers, software developers, and consultants to sell products and services in industries as diverse as property investment, property development, finance, entrepreneurship, personal development, weight loss, and technology. Now, 3 years ago, I accidentally discovered how to turn leads into £673,000 in just 9 days. I could repeat that level of success because I turned that experience into a simple 5-step system. A system that builds assets. Assets that you can use to generate income, assets that you can use again and again. And here's the critical thing. Assets that you can build over time that will grow your income and your impact. In this video series, I'm going to show you how to create 4 key business assets that you can use repeatedly to make predictable levels of income. I'm also going to show you the fundamental principles behind each asset so you can see why these principles have not changed since the dawn of time and why you can use them for the life of your business. The first principle that I'd like to share with you is that income comes from assets. Now, this principle is true for every business, whether you're a restaurant, a shop, a training company, or an investment company. Yeah? The principle holds. Now, to illustrate this, I'm going to use the most visual example, the easiest example, and that's for a property investment, if you're a property investor. So imagine that you have a house that you rent out by the room, what property investors call an HMO, or a house of multiple occupancy. Yeah? So you rent it out by the room, and let's say you make £1,000 monthly profit. So you have an asset and it generates an income. So income comes from assets. Now, here's where the principle really comes into its own. And it shows you how to accurately measure the cost and time for growth. So here's how. So you've got your one house and you make £1,000 monthly cash flow. Great. Cash flow, by the way, is profit after all costs. So £1,000 a month profit. But what happens if you want to increase your monthly income to 10 grand a month? Well, you need to buy 9 houses, right? Simple maths. So how do you do that? Well, you go out and buy some more houses. But what does growth cost and how long will growth take? So let's just say you can buy a 5-bedroom house for £250,000. And the cost to buy the house in terms of a deposit, stamp duty, legal fees, refurb costs, let's just say all of that is £75,000. So how much does growth cost? 75 times 9, £675,000. Simple. Now, do you need all the money up front? No. But for this case, let's just make it simple and say you're going to need all the money up front. So you know that growth costs £675,000. And you might have some of it, but not all of it. Okay, no problem. You need to go out and find it. Yeah? And finding the money is a lot easier when you can tell people what you're going to do with it. So here's the next point. How long does it take to achieve your income goals? So in this case, let's just say you can buy finance and fill, or buy, finance, refurb and fill a property in 3 months. Now that's pretty fast, but let's just say that's the way it goes, yeah? So how long does growth take? 9 times 3 months, 27 months. So can you achieve your income goals in a year? Yeah, absolutely. If you can buy houses faster than every 3 months. But what happens if you can't? Well, it'll take you 27 months. What happens if it takes you longer than 3 months to buy a property? Well, it means that you'll achieve your desired goal, your desired monthly cash flow of 10 grand a month in longer than 27 months. Now, why is that critical? Why is that so powerful? Well, it's so powerful because it puts you in the reality of real world feedback. The reality of how long does it take to achieve your goals. And the reason why I say that is that there are so many entrepreneurs that live in blissful ignorance. I was one of them, yeah? You live in blissful ignorance and you say, right, I want to achieve X in the next 12 months. So whether that's 10 grand a month, whether it's 20 grand a month, whether it's £1 million a month, the number's irrelevant, yeah? You set yourself a goal, 10 grand a month in a year. Great. How am I going to do that? Dunno. Is it achievable? Dunno. But that's the goal. Okay, no problem. Now what happens if you fall short? Well, a lot of people quit. But does that mean they failed? No. Yes, they failed to achieve the goal that they set themselves. But was that a realistic goal? Were they ever going to achieve it, or were they always doomed to fail? The beauty of this system, with income coming from assets and the system that I've created, is that you can see what assets you need to create, how long it's going to take, and how much it's going to cost to create those assets. So that way you can accurately predict the time and cost to achieve your goals. Simple, yeah? Now, you might look at that and go, well, in the clear light of day, I would like to achieve those goals faster. I'm not happy with that return. No problem, yeah? But if you're unhappy with that, you can either find another way around or decide to go do something else. What it allows you to do is see things in the clear light of day before you take the first step. Because what you don't want to do is get halfway through and go, oh man, this is hard. Yeah? Which is what happens for a lot of people. They get an idea, they rush in with great excitement, halfway through they're like, oh man, this is hard. Yeah? And then they either quit at that point, or they never realize just how hard they were going to have to work to achieve their goals. This system allows you to see from day one what it's going to cost, how long it's going to take. And this is the critical thing. You build security into your business. Why? So let's go back to the property example. If you have a house gives you monthly income. It gives you a profit, yeah? So you can live on that. But because you bought the house, it also gives you equity. If the house goes up in value, so does your equity, yeah? Great. So equity is security in your business. Well, with this system, you're building assets that give you security in your business. So you're going to get income from those assets and you're going to have security in your business. And of course, everyone wants to build security in their business. Nobody wants to wonder where their next sale is coming from. And that's the beauty and the power of this system. In the first video in this series, I showed you how to build the most important asset in your business. And that is a lucrative email database. Yeah? A community of people that understand who you are, how you can help them, and what makes you different. So if you haven't seen that, I strongly suggest that you do. And you can do that by clicking the link at the top of this page. In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 ways to earn the trust of your ideal customer, and I'm going to show you the assets that you can build to earn trust over time. Assets that will give you income for the life of your business. But before we jump into those fundamentals, what I'd like to do is share a story with you about my days as a sprint hurdler trying to make it to the World Junior Championships. As a promising young athlete, every coach knows the secret to make you run faster and achieve your potential. If only you would give them the chance to coach you. Now, some coaches will tell you this in a subtle way. They will use curiosity to say, hey, if you corrected just one element of your bad technique, you would smash your personal best and start running the times you're capable of. Now, they don't tell you what that one element of your technique is, of course, until you start training with them. Now, other coaches use their influence in a more overt way. They will try to make your life as difficult as possible if you don't let them coach, if you don't let them train you. Now, once you become good, I use good in inverted commas because, what does that really mean? So what it means is, once you're ranked within the top 10 in the country or in the top, certainly the top 5, you're given the opportunity to train with some of the best coaches in the country, those that are recognized as being the best. So I remember I was given the opportunity to train with Sally Gunnell's coach. Now, she had just broken the world record, so her coach had become the go-to guy. Now, I was hugely excited. I was going to be training with the top athletes in the country with the best hurdles coach in the country. So I remember I arrived, it was a winter, it was a bright sunny morning, but it was the winter, so it was cold. And the coach got us to do some hurdles drills. They started with hurdles drills. Now, if, like me on that day, you've never done hurdles drills or you've never seen anyone doing hurdles drills, let me just explain what it's like. It's like running the world's fastest assault course. You're trying to jump up and down, look good, not fall over, all at the same time. And of course, you're trying to do it as fast as possible. So that's what it's meant to look like. Now, I had no idea. I'd never done this before. I'd never seen anybody doing drills before. All I'd ever done is run over the barriers, that's the athlete's way of saying hurdles, at their race height and race distance. So for some reason, maybe because I looked terrified, I don't know, for some reason the coach asked me to go first. I had no idea what I was doing. He asked me to go first. Okay, so he didn't explain what the drills process was. He didn't explain what it was there to do or why it was important or anything like that. And I wasn't going to ask. And I also wasn't going to let fear stop me. So I raced over the barriers, looking like a flamingo trying to take off. I mean, if to get an idea in your head, there were arms and legs going everywhere. I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible. Like, I didn't fall over, that's the good thing. So rather than watch me do this and then think, this guy's never done drills before, let me take you to one side and explain what you need to do. No. He humiliated me in front of the other athletes. Great start to the day, right? So everyone else in that group had done drills before. And I could see that because when they ran over the barriers, it was like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah? Now, after watching them, I tried to copy them. But it's a dance. And until you know the steps, until you practice it, you're never going to be very good. Yeah? It takes time, it takes practice, because you're improving your technique, but there's a specific way of doing it. So that was the start of the day. It started badly. The rest of the day pretty much went downhill from there. So at the end of the day, after all of this, what does the coach do? He says to me, I'm going to award you the greatest improvement award. Now, was I flattered by this? Hell no. All I could think was, you've humiliated me the entire day and now you're just rubbing salt into the wound. But at the end of that day, what did that experience have on me? Did I think I really want to train with this guy? No. Did I learn anything new? Not really. Yeah? Did I think I need to train harder? Yeah, absolutely. You see, it was the winter. And I only ever trained in the summer. Every other athlete there trained not only in the winter, they trained like 4 or 5 times a week. Well, I didn't train 5 times a week in the summer. So what did I walk away realizing? I realized that if I wanted to compete with the best, if I wanted to win, I had to train like them. And that meant I had to train all year round, 4 or 5 times a week, no matter what. Yeah? Training twice a week just wasn't going to cut it. Yeah? Talent gets you so far, and after that it's hard work and grit, and I just didn't put it in. So I walked away from that day learning something really, really valuable, something that I still carry with me today, and that's the people who are the best at what you see, they might tell you they don't work hard, But the reality is that they do. They put in the time, they put in the graft to get the stunning results, and it shows. So the most talented athlete I ever had the pleasure of training and racing against was a guy called Matthew Clements. Now, the first time I raced against Matthew was in an 80-meter hurdles race, and he beat me by over 2 seconds. Now, that is a thrashing, yeah? So there were 2 races that day. There was the race that Matthew was in, and then there was the race that the other 7 athletes were in. So I won that second race. In other words, I came second. Now, you could say that was a great result. However, in my mind, it was a terrible result because I took the worst beating I've ever had in my life. But what did that do? Again, it made me want to raise my game. It made me realize just, I thought I'd reached a level of success, just how far good really was away from where I was. And that was a great thing. Now, fast forward 5 years, and Matthew and I are talking before training. He was training with another group, but in the warm-up area, we were all talking. And he said to me one day, "My coach would like to help you." So I immediately got excited. Really? Yeah? Why was I so excited? Because Matthew was God. I mean, you have to understand just how talented this guy was. Yeah? He was breaking, world junior records at 13 years old. I mean, he was, he wasn't quite Usain Bolt, but he was very, very talented, really gifted, but he worked extremely hard. And I got to see just how hard he worked when I trained with him. But when he said that his coach wanted to train me, I was, super excited, super honored. Why? Now, his coach was a guy called Bob Smith. Now, Bob is a quiet guy. He's not one to brag. Now, he didn't need to brag because his athletes did that for him, yeah? There was he had a very small and exclusive group, and everybody kind of knew of them, yeah? The myth. And you knew that they were the best athletes because you could see just how fast they ran. But, outside of that, it was a lot of secrecy. You didn't really know much. Now, I heard through Matthew that Bob had trained John Ridgen Bob had coached John Ridgen to a silver medal at the Seoul Olympic Games. So, this guy knew how to succeed at the absolute highest level. And then just before Bob did take me under his wing, another athlete in his group came up to me one day and said, "Roland, you've got to let Bob train you. Last year, he said he wasn't going to take anybody else on. He's expanding the group just for you. I don't know what you've done, but you've done something right. You've got to let him train you." Yeah? Now, of course, what is that going to make me feel? It's going to make me feel that this guy is the guy to be trusted. This guy is the guy that can help me get where I want to go. Yeah? Of course I was going to let him train me. Yeah? Why wouldn't I? It's other athletes that are singing his praises, not the coach himself. So I remember the first time the first training session I had with Bob. It was a Saturday morning in September 1996. And again, it was a beautiful sunny day. I don't know what it is about, training with these elite coaches, but it brings out the sunshine. And the day started with hurdles drills. But this time, Bob knew, or guessed, that I'd never done drills before. He probably knew because he'd seen me train, he'd seen me run. And all I'd ever done is run over the barriers at race height and race distance. So he explained what I needed to do and why, and then he had other athletes go first so I could see what they were doing. So I did the drills, and I did them as best I could, still looking like a flamingo, arms and legs flailing in every which way. But later in the day, when we raced over the barriers, I felt faster. I could see the difference that he'd made in one session. Now, what did that do? It made me believe in him 100%. I knew that he could take me where I wanted to go. I knew that Bob could help me achieve my potential as an athlete. And all I had to do was shut up and listen. It was that simple, yeah? So he earned my trust that day. Now, there were many times over the winter when that trust was tested. Yeah, I remember Bob gave me some training sessions, and he called it basic conditioning. Now, this was the hardest training I'd ever done in my life, and my muscles ached in places that I didn't even know there were muscles. Yeah, and I could barely walk up the stairs Yet surprisingly, I could still train. Yeah, and I could still run fast. And not only could I run fast, I could feel the difference that this strength was having. But what happened at the start of the season? First race of the season, boom, I run the fastest time in the country. How about that for achieving your potential? So, could I have done that on my own? Not like 100% no. There is no way I could have achieved that on my own. I didn't have the vision, the plan, or the patience. Yeah? I wasn't able to improve my technique. I didn't know how to get strong. I didn't know how to get fast. I didn't know how to do it without getting injured. These are all ways in which, a coach, a mentor who's been there and done it can help you. Those are all ways that he helped me. And what did I do? I listened, I obeyed, and then I achieved the results that were way beyond my wildest imagination. So why am I telling you this? What's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that if you want to achieve your full potential in business, in athletics, in whatever it is, if you want to achieve your full potential, you need to find a mentor or a coach. You need to find somebody who has the vision, the plan, the patience, and the experience to take you where you need to go. You still have to do the work, but if you want to achieve your full potential, you need some help getting there. That's why you need a coach. That's why you need a mentor. They can enable you to achieve in ways beyond your wildest imagination. So why have I told you this story? What's this got to do with building trust in your business? Well, Bob earned my trust in that first training session. But more importantly, he earned my trust in, of course, he didn't realize this, but he earned my trust in the exact same ways of the 3 fundamentals that I'm going to share with you today. So the 3 key business fundamentals to earn trust, and as I'm going to show you, the assets that you can build so you can magnify that trust over time. So what are the 3 key trust building fundamentals? Well, the 3 fundamentals are this. Number 1 is results in advance. Number 2 is storytelling. Number 3 is testimonials. So let's look at each of these in turn. Trust fundamental number 1 is results in advance. So if you can give your customer a result without asking for anything in return, then you will earn their trust. Why? Because you've demonstrated how you can help them. So let's just return to my athletics example that I gave you earlier. In that first training session, Bob Smith completely earned my trust. Now, why would he need to? He'd already coached the likes of John Ridgen to a silver medal at the Seoul Olympic Games. Yeah? He'd already done, he'd earned his scars, he'd earned his stripes. But of course, he still needed to earn my trust because I was the one that had to do the work. And he was going to test my commitment over the coming weeks and months. Of course, I didn't know that at that stage, but because he'd earned my trust so convincingly that first session, I obeyed without any questioning at all. Yeah? And he got me doing things that I never thought I'd be able to do. I never thought I'd want to do. I was doing 1,000 sit-ups a day. Who does that? That's crazy. I was training regardless of the weather. It was snowing, I was still training. That's commitment. That's what it takes to run and achieve your goals. That's what it takes to run the speeds the times that you are capable of. Yeah? But I was only willing to do that because I believed that Bob was the coach to take me there, and he was going to take me there in a way that I wouldn't get injured, in a way that I was going to achieve my dreams. That's why you've got to do that. That's why earning your trust by giving results in advance is so valuable. But what about in another example? What about in an information marketing setting? So 6 years ago, when I was right at the start of my marketing journey, or not quite right at the start, I was actually probably 5 years into my marketing journey. But when I was first learning about direct response marketing, a very good friend of mine told me about an internet marketer called Eben Pagan. And I remember Eben did a 4-part video series, much like the one that I'm doing now. And I remember just being blown away. I was completely in awe of, the knowledge that this guy had. And the trust that built in me was immense. Yeah. Now at that time, Eben, the price of his workshops and his mentorships was way outside my budget. But I stayed on his list for years. And when I had the money, I started buying his courses. I wanted to work with him. And even though it took several years to take me there, that was okay. Why? Because the first impression was a good one. The first impression demonstrated, without asking for anything in return, how he could help me. So how can you do this? How can you do this for your customers? How can you give them results in advance? Well, think about packaging one simple idea into a video or a report. Yeah, but package one simple idea that people can take and get an aha moment. So one idea that I'm going to steal from Eben Pagan in one of the videos that he delivered was he looked at 100 websites, and the idea was that within 8 seconds, could he tell you what that business did? So what do most businesses do? They have lots of pretty pictures, they have a long description about how great they are. What do the great businesses do? They have a headline that says who they help and the benefits that they help them achieve. So why did Eben want to understand what the business did within 8 seconds? The 8 seconds was because that's the upper limit of time that someone will spend on a site before deciding whether to click away or not. Yeah? So what does 8 seconds allow you to do? It basically allows someone to read the headline. So notice that whether a website is good or bad has nothing to do with how it looks. Now, of course, how it looks influences how you feel about the site. But what it doesn't do is influence how long you stay on the site. What influences that is the words on the page, the copy. So if you want to hold someone's attention, if you want the opportunity to change their lives, then the words on the page need to say who you help and what you help them achieve. So here's an example from my business. We help entrepreneurs build business assets to create the income and impact of your dreams. Better than the School of Hard Knocks or education on its own, because we help you implement your ideas in a fun, fast and profitable way. So, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to grow your business, you'll know that this is the site for you. If you're not an entrepreneur but you want to be, then you know that this is the site for you. Equally, if you aren't an entrepreneur and you don't want to be, you know that you don't need to waste any more of your time. So, it's very clear who we help and how we help them do it. Yeah? We help you build business assets that will create the income and impact of your dreams. So, if you'd like me to, what's the magic formula for writing an attention-grabbing headline like that? So here it is. We help this group of people achieve this specific benefit or these group of benefits better than common wisdom because. So use that formula. Look at your own website. What does the headline say? Do you have a headline? Yeah? Or is it just a long page of text? Put a headline in there. Put a headline above the pictures, so that's the first thing they see. Yeah? And use that formula. We help this group of people achieve this benefit better than common wisdom because. There it is. So think about how you can package a simple idea in a way that will give your ideal customer a tangible result quickly. Yeah? A result that you'll give them without asking for anything in return. Now, of course, you might be thinking, but if I give all this stuff away for free, when am I ever going to ask them to work with me? When am I ever going to make some money from all of this? Now, here's the thing. Think about my Eben Pagan example. He earned my trust because he gave away great information. And when I say great information, it was kind of simple information, but it was mind-blowing for me at that stage. Yeah? So, and what did that do? It earned my trust for years. For years later, I always wanted to work with him. And once I had the money, I did. So, don't be afraid to give away valuable information. Also, think about, hey, what's valuable for you right now but think about what's valuable for someone else at the start of their journey. So give the information that's going to help the person that you want to attract. And yeah, not everybody's going to have the time and the money right now to work with you. And that's okay, because you'll have earned their trust and they will want to work with you. So that's trust building principle number 1, which is results in advance. Now let's look at trust building principle number 2, which is storytelling. There's nothing that builds trust more than an inspiring personal story. Why? Because stories get past our sales resistance, because we've been listening to them since childbirth. Also, we pay good money to listen to a good story, either through movies or through books and novels. The other power with stories is that they connect two human beings in an emotional way, in a memorable way, and in a lasting way. So, how do you tell an inspiring personal story? We're going to get to that in a minute. But before we do, let's just talk about what it takes to tell an inspiring personal story. And what it takes, more than anything else, is courage. Why? Because for a story to be inspiring, for a story to be believable, you've got to have the courage to talk about your struggles. You've got to talk about where you started, why you were looking for a change, and the challenges that you encountered along the way. You know, why did you get back up 9 times after you've been knocked down 8? Yeah? What struggles did you have along the way? How long did you think it would take to achieve your goals? And how long did it really take? Yeah? Why did you keep going? You know, that's a critical one. Did you keep going because you didn't want to let your family down? Did you keep going because you wanted to prove the doubters wrong? Was it a combination of the two? Whatever it is, you've got to share that with your reader. Why? Because chances are they're going through the same thing. They're feeling the same thing. Yeah? Everybody wants to prove the doubters wrong. If you've got a family, you don't want to let them down. What other reasons are there that you didn't give up? Yeah? What about the moments when you wanted to quit and why you didn't? What about the moments when you lost a big client or you lost a huge investment of time and money? Yeah? How did you feel? What were the consequences of those? What did you learn as a result of it? These are all elements that require courage to talk about, but these are the elements that make your story real. These are the elements that, you know, show your soft underbelly. These are the elements that make your story interesting, because how you overcome challenges is interesting. How you overcome challenges could also be the best results in advance that you could give your ideal customer. Why? Because they might see that beyond anything else, the one thing you need to succeed is just, you know, a refusal to give up. You know, if they can see that you're just an ordinary guy that refused to give up, and that's part of the reason why or that's how you achieved extraordinary things, then they might go, hey, you know what, I can do that too. And if you give them that aha moment, if you create that change in their mind, that's the biggest change that you could give them, because that's the change that they need to achieve all of their goals. And they will follow you for years because of that. Now, here's the other good thing with stories. Great storytellers are made, they are not born. And I've got a simple 5-step system that you can use to tell your inspiring personal story. Now, how have I found this system? How have I adapted this system? This system is adapted from, you know, Hollywood movies, the great novels. You know, once you start to see this, you know, once you start to use this system, you'll be able to see it in movies. You'll be able to see, oh, that's where it comes from, or those are the elements that are taken from that. But what it also means is that you'll be able to tell your story in a way that has your reader or your listener or your viewer sat on the edge of their seat. So, like I said, it's a simple 5-step system. So step 1 is character. Step 2 is step 1 is the setting. Step 2 is character. Step 3 is the struggle. Step 4 is the solution. And step 5 is the outcome. So, let's look at each of these in turn. So step 1 is the setting. Every story takes place at a specific place in a specific time. Fairly simple, right? You've got to introduce the reader to where you are. Let them see what you saw, how you felt. Now, this doesn't need to be long. And my favorite kind of story opening, story introduction is a song from Paul Simon. And he says, I was having a discussion in a taxi heading downtown. Me and a friend of mine had a little bit of a breakdown. So in just 2 sentences, I've got a clear picture in my mind. He's in a yellow cab heading into New York. Why do I think that? I think that because of the word downtown. Now, you might have a different picture in your head, and that's okay. That's the power of stories. We all have our own pictures. We all create our own vision of what's happening. Now, is he traveling in rush hour, at night, first thing in the morning, in the rain, in the sunshine? I don't know. And I don't care. Why? Because he's already moved the story on. What I want to know is what him and his friend are arguing about. So in just 2 sentences, he's created the scene, set the scene, and moved the story on. It can be as simple as that. So don't think you've got to write long treatises for the opening. So that takes us on to step 2, which is character. So every story has at least one character. And if it only has one character, that's the hero. And if it's your story, you're the hero of the story. And that's okay. Well, that's not only is that okay, that's how it should be. Now, the audience only cares about the hero once they see what the hero wants, and what the hero wants badly. And I suppose critically, what is preventing the hero from getting what he wants. So, in my case, when I started out on my marketing journey, what I wanted was simple. I wanted to know how marketing could make the cash register ring. So that was my quest. That was what I wanted to do. What was preventing me from getting it? Knowledge. I didn't know if it was possible, let alone who could show me how to do it. I just believed that it did. Why? I don't know. I can't tell you why. It was just a crazy belief that I had. But I had no way of knowing how to get there. I couldn't learn by the School of Hard Knocks because I'd blown all of my life savings on my photography business, trying to keep that afloat. So I had to find another way to get there. So that takes us nicely into step 3, which is the struggle. Yeah? So the struggle is what makes, this is the engine of the story. This is what makes stories interesting. Because it's all about how does the hero overcome the obstacle? How does, the hero save the world? How does the boy get the girl? How does the boy win the father's respect to get the girl? Yeah, whatever the obstacle is, it's how does the hero remove it from his life? Now, we all hate living through the struggle in our lives. Who likes the struggle? Nobody enjoys the struggle, but we enjoy reading about the struggle, yeah? So, if you want to tell your story and you want it to be believable, you want it to be emotional, you want it to be lasting, you want it to be memorable, you've got to have the courage to share your struggles in an emotional way. So of course, we've already touched on some of those struggles, yeah? How did you feel when you lost a big investment of time or money? What were the struggles that I faced on my route to discovering how marketing could make the cash register ring? Well, I spent 2 years of my life studying with the CIM, the Chartered Institute of Marketing, because they are the biggest, most respected name in marketing. And I thought, that's where you go. You turn to traditional education to find the results that you want. Now, those courses cost me £3,000. I did 2 of those courses, so £6,000. Now, at the time, I was earning £20,000 or £21,000 a year. So, to save £3,000 from £21,000 salary is that was a fairly big sacrifice for my family at the time. That's a good holiday and a lot of dinners out, yeah? And what did I have to show at the end of it? Well, I didn't have anything to show. What I had to do was admit to myself and to my wife that this was kind of all for nothing. It was a costly and time-consuming dead end. And I still had to talk about why I was committed to the journey, why I didn't give up, why I was still going to carry on going forward, why I was still going to risk good money in search of this dream. And that's what I did. I did continue to risk good money in search of this dream, in search of someone who could teach me how to do the thing that I wanted to do. So have the courage to talk about your struggles and what they meant to you. Yeah? So that takes us on to step 4. If you're selling something, now we're all selling something, whether it's an idea, a product, or a service. Yeah? And that is the solution. So what you're selling is the shortcut to achieve that goal. Yeah? So I can show you how marketing can make the cash register ring. And I can show you how, I can take all of the training that I've gone and I can put it into a simple way that you can learn it and get quick results. But what do I need to do? What do you need to do? You don't need to talk extensively about the solution. Why? Because people only care enough to understand what it is that they're buying, if they're buying it. Because what they really want to know is, what is the outcome? What result will they achieve, or can they achieve, when they follow your system? So in my case, I found a way to turn leads into £673,000 in 9 days. Great, those are the facts. Cold and dry, right? What did it mean? Well, what it meant was I achieved this result that was way beyond my wildest imagination. Yeah? And more importantly, it was the end of a 8-year struggle, 8-year quest to find out how marketing could make the cash register ring. And that was validation for that. There were many times when, there were setbacks in terms of time and money that I've already talked about. But there were setbacks and bruises to my ego, because every time you try something and you don't get the result you want, your ego gets damaged, right? So it's how do you weather those storms and continue with your enthusiasm? How do you continue with your belief that this is possible? So achieving that result wasn't, the result in itself was amazing. Why wouldn't it be? Yeah? But it was even more amazing because it was the end of an 8-year struggle. It was proof that, if you refuse to give up and you never lose sight and enthusiasm of where you want to go, you can get there. And that's what that result meant for me. That's what that result can mean for you too, if you decide to work with me and I can help you achieve that. So you've got to share with your audience what the result meant for you. What does it allow you to do now? Does it allow you to work with the people does it allow you to do what you love and get well paid? Does it allow you to work with the people that respect you and treat you well? Does it allow you to have the time freedom to be able to, attend your daughter's concerts, plays, and sports matches? Does it allow you to travel the world? If so, where have you been? Why is travel so important to you? Yeah? What has it allowed you to do? How has it changed your life? Storytelling is about taking your reader with you, sharing with them where you've been, sharing with them what this result means for you and what this result can mean for them. So travel's a really important part of my life. Yeah, I love to see the world. My wife loves to see the world. Last year we went on 4 holidays. This year we've been on more. That's what this allows me to do. That's what, but more importantly, I get to do what I love every single day. Yeah? I get to do what I love and get well paid for it. That's certainly a bigger gift than holidays could ever be. So what's the end of the rainbow for your amazing story? Yeah? Describe that. And, don't forget to share with people why that's important. Yeah? The amazing result is amazing in itself, but what is the emotional impact of that? How has that made your life better? How has that made you happier and more fulfilled? So there you have it. There's the 5-step system to tell your inspiring personal story. So I hope you use it. Yeah? I hope you look at each of those elements and you think about where your story starts, where your story ends, and the struggles that you went through along the way, and how you can help your audience get the shortcut secrets to achieve the result that they want. So now let's look at the third and final trust building element, and that is testimonials. So what are testimonials? Testimonials are stories of the people you've helped. So in the same way that if you're going to tell your inspiring personal story, you need to show the journey of where you started, where you came or where you are now, and the struggles that you went through, and of course what that result means for you now. So if you're going to share the stories of the people that you've helped, which are testimonials, and you're going to do it in a way that's going to create trust with somebody else, then you've got to do it in a similar way. You've got to show that journey of transformation. Now, is there a way to tell a testimonial, or is there a system to tell testimonials at any length? Yes. And I say at any length because these can be, short headlines, they can be short videos, or they can be longer emails, or longer videos. The point is not about the length, it's about the system and the process that you use to tell them. And I've got a 5-step system to tell the perfect testimonial. And it starts with, what did their life look like before they used your system or your product? So that's one. What did their life look like before they knew you? Number 2 is, why were they looking for a change? Why did they want to change their life? Or why did they continue to look for someone to help them on their journey if they were already on the journey? Why did they want to change their life? Number 3 is, what made them trust you? Because if, like me, I'd, spent 2 years and £6,000 with the Chartered Institute of Marketing, it would have been easy for me to say, I went to the best, I was let down, that's it, I'm not interested in education. But I didn't. Why not? Who did I work with? What was it about them that made me trust them? Hey, guess what? Maybe it was some results in advance, right? So 4 is, what results have they enjoyed? So how have you helped them? Have you enabled them to make, to buy houses with none of their own money? Have you enabled them to lose weight? Have they found the husband or wife of their dreams? Have they made the growth in their business that they wanted? How have you helped them? And then 5 is, what difference has that made to the quality of their life? In other words, they need to talk about the things that result has enabled them to do. Which, like I say, it could be they're able to travel, they've got more time, they can fit time around what they do. Or maybe it's just they get to do what they love and they're well paid for it. Because I don't know about you, but getting to do what you love every single day, that is, to me, the biggest blessing that I could ever have. So those are the 5 steps. So just as a quick reminder, what their life looked like before they started working with you, why they wanted to make a change, what made them trust you, what results did you help them achieve, what results have they achieved, and what do those results mean to them. So when you share testimonials like this, you will show your audience the change, the transformation, and that will make them trust you. So there you have it. Those are the 3 ways to earn trust, the 3 key assets that you need to build in your business. So the first is results in advance. So you need to build up a library of different results in advance that you can give people. The second is stories, your inspiring personal stories. Now, we've all got an epic story, where we started to where we got today. But we've also got other stories of, success, struggle and success today. So in the first video I shared with you about my lead generation struggles and how how with the help of a mentor, I reduced my lead generation cost from £12 per lead to £2.50 a lead. So tell everyday stories. Then what have I told you in this video? I've told you about my days as an athlete and how I wanted to get to the World Junior Championships and how my experience with different coaches. So use the stories through your life. Tell them. Have the courage to tell them. So build up your bank of stories. Get used to telling them. Write them out. So in terms of building up assets, so the first one is your library or bank of results in advance. Second is your storytelling library, and third is The testimonials, yeah? Who are the people that you have helped? The more people, the more people that you can show that you've helped, the more trust that you will build. So now it's your turn. As you know, I don't want this video series to just be an entertainment, and I certainly don't want it to be shelf help. I want you to use this to grow your business. So there are 3 things that I would like you to do right now. So grab a pen, grab your iPhone, grab your laptop, whatever it is, make a note of them. Or, in fact, you don't even need to write them all down, because below this video, there's an ebook that has them all written out. So it has all of the stories, and you can go right to the end, and it's actions to take, and you'll see them in there. But what are the actions? What are the 3 actions that I'd like you to take right now? So the first one is to think about the different categories that you can write about. What are the different areas in which you can give results in advance? So when I think about my business, there are various different areas that I could write about. 1 is storytelling, 2 is lead generation, 3 is different ways of making the sale online, whether that's webinars, whether it's sales pages, yeah? And then the 5th area that I could talk about is how to package up expertise, yeah? So think about the different areas where you can deliver results in advance in your business. How can you help customers? What are the different areas in which you would like to write about? Yeah, so that's the first thing. So just think about those top line categories, because once you've identified them, it's easier to then start creating this library of content that you need. So the second thing is to make a list of the stories that you want to tell. And like I say, the easiest one to see will be what I call your epic story, which is how you got to where you are today. But start thinking about the other stories that you can tell. Think about the everyday stories, yeah? But then think about the other success stories that you have in your life, yeah? Think about the things that you did, yeah? This can be stories like my athletics story, or it could be stories like my getting 10% in an English exam humiliation, yeah? Think about the moments of delight, think about the moments of pain, and the stories and the reasons why you want to share those things and what they mean for your audience. So make a list of those so you can start building out your bank of stories. And then the third and final thing that I'd like you to do is to make a list of all the people you've helped and then ask them for a testimonial. So if you have no testimonials right now, that's okay. Just make a list of the people that you've helped, and then you can contact them and ask them for a success story. Yeah, better still, you might contact them and say you want to help them in some way, give first, and then you can ask them for a success story. So please do those 3 actions right now, because if you take those actions, then this will help you grow your business, and that's the purpose of this, yeah? If you build those assets up over time, those assets will give you income for the life of your business. So please do that now. So that brings us to the end of today's video. So I would just like to thank you so much for watching this right to the end. And then I would just like to say that in the next video in this series, I'm going to show you how to create an irresistible offer. Now, what is an irresistible offer? An irresistible offer is something that makes people happy to buy today. So if you want to be able to make money on demand, you need to be able to make people happy to buy today. And that's what I'm going to show you in the next video. So I will see you in a couple of days, and until then, carpe diem.